Hey girlfriend, welcome to the Girlfriend's Girlfriend podcast, because every girl needs a friend. I'm your host, Rashonda, your personal development coach and big sis in the spirit. All right. Today's episode is one you've probably needed all year long and didn't even know it. Today we're diving into a topic that everyone has forced or faced. Well, it can be one or the other, forced and faced, okay, at some point. Working with people who suck the life out of the job, the room, the entire building. Oh, Jesus. Right? Have you ever, working with people who suck the life out of you? So this month's podcast episode is entitled, Lord, They're Testing Me. Protecting your peace at work. And listen, if you've ever had to pray in the parking lot before going in, all right, had to shed some tears in the parking lot, okay, and put on your good face before you went into the job, or lock yourself in the bathroom just to breathe, then sis, this episode is for you. Stay tuned.
It's your go-to place for guidance. Step inside, see how good the vibe is. It's a girl talk and you're all invited, 'cause every girl needs a girlfriend. Go-to place for guidance. Step inside, see how good the vibe is. It's a girl talk and you're all invited, 'cause every girl needs a girlfriend.
Let's keep it all the way real. Sometimes it's not the work that wears you out. It's the people. It's the people, the draining personalities, the microaggressions, the gossip, the meetings that could have been an email but somehow turned into an ambush. I wrote a blog post called How to Remain Positive in a Negative Environment. And God bless me to write that. I think it was back in 17, back in 18. And while the message still stands, this version, it's the remix. Sometimes it is hard to remain positive in negative environments. And, being the person that's always been like the positive person or the go-to person for people for positivity, sometimes my light gets dim. And I'm going to talk about that more as we move on into this segment. But you need to know, okay, what do I need to do? This place is draining me. It's so negative. The people here are crazy, but I need this job. So how do you remain positive in an environment like that? And that's what we're going to talk about. Okay. This episode isn't about complaining, but it's about clarity and how to coach yourself through the chaos. Now, I want us to meet the workplace stressors, the people that cause the pain, the people that cause the negativity, the people that just get on our last nerve, okay? The first one is the complainer. I'm sure we all have a complainer on our job. Nothing is ever right. And this is not just on our job. This could even be in our personal life. Have you ever been around somebody? I don't care how much you try to make things right, or how much you try to look at the positive side of things, they can never see the positive side of things. They just complain about everything. They just the complainer. Nothing is ever right. Nothing is ever this. And then when you say, well, look at this. Well, look at what happened here. This is good. They're going to find something to say about that. They just like to complain. And there's a saying that says misery loves company. And when you start complaining with them and start getting on they boat, and you rowing with them, they are fine, but they are the complainer. They complain about everything. Nothing is ever right. Then number 2, you have the credit snatcher. They love your ideas, right? You talking to them, you telling them about your ideas, and you got this, and you see this, and oh, this will be great, and whatever, but they also love taking the credit for your ideas. You ever been in a meeting and you done talked to somebody about something that just came to you? It was just a thought. It was a good thought, good idea. And then we get into a meeting and then they raising their hand and then they coming out saying what you said, but they trying to put it in a way like it came from them. Like, what in the world? And then you looking at them like, didn't I just tell you that last week? Like, that was my idea. I told you. about that, and whatever. I remember I was on a job one time, and I love decorating. I love decorating houses and whatever. I used to always tell people my sister and me are two different. Came from the same mom, but we're cut from two different cloths, because my sister loves to cook. She loves hospitality. She loves to entertain. Me, I love to create. While she was in there watching Mama fix greens, I was in the living room trying to put border around the walls, trying to make the living space look nice, and putting up blinds, and being creative, using my imagination for stories and stuff like that. I wish I had been in the kitchen watching Mama cook. I probably should have, but anyway. So that has always been a love of mine since I was a teen. Okay. And so I was talking to this coworker one day, and I began to tell her like how, you can do certain things, how, if you put mirrors in spaces, mirrors have a way of just enlarging a space, and all this other type of stuff. And so we were sitting down one day talking to, somebody else. And all of a sudden she just came out to me, yeah, and did you know that mirrors have a way of, of making your space look bigger? And the other person was like, oh, I never really thought of it like that. She was like, yeah, and you can put it da da da. And I'm sitting back looking at her like, are you kidding me? Like, you didn't even know that before I said something. But yeah, here you are sitting up, talking to her about it, and I told you about it. So it's things like that. It's people that will take your ideas. They love your ideas. They love to hear you talk. You got the best ideas, but they also like to take your ideas too. So we got those. Third, we have the energy vampire. They're draining. They're dramatic. And always going through something. I don't care what it is, baby. It's a cloudy day every day for them. Every time you look up, well, this ain't right. Well, this didn't happen for me. Well, I'm just going through. Oh, my leg just hurt today. Oh, this week is their leg. Next week, they got a headache all week. The third week, they sick. It's like they always got something going on. They dramatic. They love attention, but they can also be draining. It's like it's such a good day today. And yeah, it is. But they talking about it's supposed to be raining, and I don't know, my back just been hurt. Just suck the life out of you. My goodness. So they're draining, they're dramatic, and always going through. So we call them the energy vampire. Okay. Fourth, we have the gossip gremlin. They know everybody else's business and yours. All right. So here we are. You talking to them. They know your business and they know everybody's business. They bring in everybody's business to you, and more than likely probably taking your business to everybody else. So we call them the gossip gremlin. Okay. You got to watch out for them. Then you have the passive aggressive pro. They say one thing and they mean something else. Let them tell it. Oh, I didn't mean that. I didn't mean it one way. They say one thing, but it actually means something totally different. And it's like, I don't really know how to take you. So that's what we have. And it's probably more work people that, we work with, but these are the main ones: the complainer, the credit snatcher, the energy vampire, the gossip gremlin, and the passive aggressive pro. Okay. And then there's you, trying to stay positive, trying to keep your energy aligned, and trying your best not to go off. Sis, let's go a little deeper here, because I know what it's like to want to show up strong but feel like you're running on fumes. We all carry a light bulb inside of us. That light, which is your peace, your positivity, your joy, can brighten even the darkest workspace. But when your environment is negative, your light can flicker. And if you're constantly giving and never recharging, it can eventually burn out. So here's your workspace survival kit. I hope that you have your pen, hope you have your pad, or I hope you're listening, or you can just go back to this episode, okay, when it's over. But here we go. Pray first, speak second. Pray first, speak second. I used to have this picture in my office that said, or a quote rather, that said, think first, crunch second. And I used to have people that come into the office and they would be like, what does that mean? And I would tell them that means that your first mind is 9 times out of 10 is always right. So don't overthink things. Go with what your first mind says. So that's what that is. But this is this in that sense. Pray first, speak second. So pray about everything. So you remember when we were talking about the workplace stressors, and in some of those things, we was doing some talking. Okay. The credit snatcher, you talking about your ideas, they taking the credit, the gossip gremlin. How would they know your business if you wasn't saying anything to them? Okay. So, so that's why I say pray first, speak second. It's best. The Bible tells us to be quick to hear, slow to speak, and slow to anger. So even the word of God say we got to be quick to hear. There have been times where people are in the midst of speaking to me and I'm looking at them as they're speaking to me and I'm praying at the same time, because it depends on what they're talking to me about. I'm praying and I'm asking God on the inside of me, God, what response should I give? Because I know that this person is, I know that they are a gossip gremlin. No matter what I say or how I say it, they'll take it and they'll twist it to make it seem like I said something else or I meant something else and I didn't. So while they're talking to me, I'm praying and I'm like, okay, God, how should I handle this situation? What should I say? Because I feel like I have to cover my butt no matter what. So pray first, speak second. 2, boundaries are your best friend. You can say no professionally and still be kind. You're not rude for saying no. You're wise for guarding your mental space. Okay. So boundaries are your best friend. Set boundaries. I used to be I used to get a little disheartened when I would hear other people in the office talking and seem like they having such good conversations, or I overhear them telling, another coworker something, like something personal or whatever. And I'm like, man, they didn't tell me that, or they didn't, that person talked to me, but they didn't share those details with me, but they chose to share it with somebody else. And so it kind of made me feel like, but I took it as I'm glad that they didn't share it with me. I don't need to know everything. I don't need to be in everything. It's probably good that I'm not in everything, and whatever, because if you share that with me, and if that's drama or whatever it is, then that means that you're going to keep coming to me with that. And maybe I'm just not in the mood for it. So I'm grateful. And sometimes people don't share things with you or certain things with you because people just like drama. They want to hear a drama side of things instead of a positive side of things. So I have to take that into account too, that a lot of times that's why sometimes people don't talk to me, because I'm going to give you a logical way, of how to deal with it and how to, move on, a peaceful way. And sometimes people don't always want that. They're like, I know she gonna come at me with this, or this, and I don't want to hear that right now. So they'll go to somebody else who's going to give them the response that they want to hear. And that's fine. It used to make me feel bad, but not anymore, baby. I'm me. I'm going to tell you the way it is. And we just going to keep it moving. So boundaries are your best friends. And if people are bringing stuff to you, you have the ability and the right to say, hey, listen, I'm not in the right headspace to accept that right now or to receive that type of information right now. I'm just in a whole different, mindset, or they come to you and they start complaining and talking about people. Turn the situation around. They come into you talk, yeah, did you see Susie, the way she was dressed? No, I didn't see her. Hey, did you see that email that we got about, such and such what you think about that? Like, you can turn the whole situation around. You're setting a boundary. What you're doing is letting them know, I don't care about Susie, what she got on, what's happening in her world. Listen, because that's just going to go into something else. So boundaries are your best friend. Okay, check your emotional leaks. Are you giving energy away to things you can't control? All right. Not every comment, glare, or tone needs a response. Guard your energy like it's currency. So check your emotional leaks. Are you leaking? Are you giving away your energy? Because sometimes we do to things you can't even control. It's completely out of your control, but you giving your energy to it. So you don't have to comment. This is something that I'm even learning right now, like in IRL, in real life with my own life, is I don't have to give a comment to everything. I don't have to give a comment to everything. Everything don't need a response. I know my boundaries. I know how to check my energy. If it's not doing good for my space, if it's not doing good for my mental space or my energy, I don't have to give a response to it. So I'm guarding my energy. I'm trying to guard where I want my energy to go and who I want it to go to and how I want to use it. So we are in control of that, okay? Don't dim to match darkness. Don't let a stressful environment convince you that you're the problem. If they're negative, you don't have to shrink. Keep showing up in your true color. There have been a lot of cases where I have tried to dim my light just to match other people's their light, whether that light was dim, because I'm like, if I go in and I'm too upbeat or I'm too positive, they may not talk to me and they may not like me. So I try to match the room, read the room, match the room, and match my light with everybody else and just conform. But I realize that I'm not totally being myself when I do that. And so I have to be me. If I'm in a space and I can't be myself, well, then that means that space isn't for me. Okay. But I'm going to be me at the end of the day. So if I'm not going to match your light, if anything, you can match mine, but I'm not going to change who I am just to meet your standards. And I don't expect you to change who you are just to meet mine. You be you. Let me be me. Okay. And we move on. Vent wisely. Have one trusted person, not the whole office. Everyone doesn't need access to your processing. One safe space is enough. So have that one. I have been in offices where I have had that one person that I talk to, that one person that I share things with, that one person that I feel like I can trust and I can tell them things and I can say things to them in a certain way and they won't get offended. So I have had people like that in certain offices, but just because I'm like that with them don't mean that I'm like that with everybody in the office. One, because I'm an observer. So vent. You can vent wisely. It's okay to vent because we all need somebody to vent to, but just make sure you're doing it wisely. Have one trusted person, not the whole office, and take emotional breaks. You can get up, you can walk, you can journal. So take emotional breaks. If things is getting too negative, too wild, you can go to your car, honey. You can, walk. You can do whatever it is to make sure that you're staying, that your spirits are staying up and that they're not becoming dim or dark. You know what I mean? Then you have a circle check. Who's pouring back into you? If you're the go-to for everyone else, make sure you've got someone that's feeding you too. Hey girlfriend, welcome to this month's commercial segment. I think we're going to call this one Pieces, Patterns, and Being Left on Red, okay? This is your segment of something old, something new, something borrowed, and something blue, where we drop a little wisdom, a little reflection, and a whole lot of you're not alone. So let's get into it. Something old. Let's talk about puzzle pieces. Sis, how many times have you tried to make something fit that clearly wasn't meant to? Whether it was a friendship, a relationship, or even a work situation. If it doesn't click with the blueprint God gave you, forcing it only leads to frustration. Now listen, I've been there. I once let my heartstrings pull me into the direction of people, places, and things, trying to make puzzle pieces fit in places, okay? I mean, I was shoving it in there. But listen, in my mind, it felt aligned. It felt right. But the more I tried to piece it together, the more the spirit kept nudging me like, that ain't it. That ain't it, okay? We can pray about our careers, our purpose, our finances, but when it comes to personal relationships, we sometimes forget to consult the same God who designed our heart in the first place. So let this be your reminder. Don't force the puzzle. Don't force the puzzle. Consult the blueprint. Okay. Something new. Take a second. Think about the best boss you ever had. Sometimes I'd be sitting up and my mind just be going places. And I was thinking, who was the best boss I ever had? Okay. The best boss I ever had was a boss. His name was Mr. Andre Stevens. And listen, the best boss. And later on in life, God blessed me to be a supervisor to people, and I've led in spaces. And honestly, some of the things that he did when he was my boss, I took from that blueprint and I used it, in my own situation, in my time of when I was a supervisor. So take a second. Think about the best boss you ever had. What made them great? Was it how they treated people, their patience, their ability to lead with compassion? Or maybe it was the fact that they saw you when no one else did. So here's the flip. How are you showing up as a leader in your own life? Even if you're not in management, you manage something, okay? Your peace, your boundaries, your home, your mindset, whatever you learned from that great boss, apply it. You're the CEO of your journey now. So this is my hats off to the best bosses out there, okay? And my hats off to you, Mr. Andre Stevens. You'll probably never listen to this podcast, but your time in my life during way back when, he was the one that taught me like how to take minutes, sitting in board meetings, and he opened my eyes to so many things. And I never got an opportunity to thank him for that, but thank you, Mr. Stevens. Okay. Something borrowed. This month's borrowed wisdom. Trust is earned over time and through consistent action and honesty. Trust is earned over time and through consistent action and honesty. Not vibes, not charm, not just chemistry, but consistency. Okay. So the next time someone tries to get close, whether it's personally, professionally, emotionally, don't ask if you like them. Okay. Ask if you can trust them. Okay. That's the key. Are they being consistent? All right. Okay. Something blue. Okay. Let's get into it. Now, I recently had this to happen to me, but this isn't just recent. It has happened to me before. Being left on red. READ. Okay. How do you feel about being left on red? You reach out and nothing. Silence, no response, not even a hey, I'll reply later. Let's be honest, it stings. But let me free you today, sis. Being ignored doesn't mean you're invisible. Sometimes people's inability to respond is their capacity speaking for them, not your worth. If they ghosted you, remember, and always remember this, God didn't. He heard you, he sees you. But I just hate being left on red. Like, I'm responding, I'm asking you a question. I see that you read my message and you don't say anything. And it's like, what's up with that? So, because I'm the type of person where if you send me a message, I'm gonna respond. Okay. I am going to respond. I'm like that in my personal life. I'm like that in my career. I am going to respond if you send me a message. And then if it's hours later or I don't respond, I'm going to tell you when I do respond to you, hey, I apologize, I apologize for the delay in responding. Or, hey, girl, I saw your message. I do apologize. I'm going to acknowledge that, I did see it, and, just had some stuff going on. I get it that, people have life going on, life be lifing, okay? But at the same time, it's like, can you not respond? And I'm talking about it's months later. Like, you sent the message like 2 months ago and they still ain't responded. And I don't think they intend to. But anyway, so I'm just saying, if they ghosted you, whether they ain't responding for whatever reason, I don't know, just remember, God will never ghost you. He heard you, he sees you, and he knows how to answer in ways that don't leave you wondering, okay? Okay, sis, I've been the one who stayed late to help. I've encouraged others when I needed encouraging and smiled when I wanted to cry. Being the light at work is beautiful, but baby, even lights need power sources. That's where prayer comes in. That's where unplugging comes in. That's where you come in. I've been called the positive one, and this is what I was saying earlier, and many of my jobs. And while I love being that light, child, some days I was flickering, okay? Flickering. Sometimes the encourager runs low on energy. Sometimes the light gets dim, and that's when I pray. I protect my space. I unplug from people who use me like an emotional outlet, but are MIA when I need a word. Girlfriend, being kind doesn't mean being a doormat. Being spiritual doesn't mean being silent. God gave you discernment for a reason, so use it. Remember, Proverbs 4:23, above all else, guard your heart. That means spiritually, emotionally, and professionally. You can't pour if you're constantly leaking. God didn't call you to be a doormat. He called you to be a daughter, and there's a difference. So we're going back to Proverbs 4:23. Above all else, guard your heart. And yes, that includes your heart at work. Sis, you were not created to carry everyone else's baggage while silencing your own voice. You were sent to that space, to that office space, or whatever space it is, to be a difference maker, not a dumping ground, okay? You're allowed to step away, speak up, say no, and set limits. You're not weak for wanting peace. You're wise for guarding it. So this month, She Did That is a collective celebration for every woman who's learned how to show up, stay sane, and protect her space, even in the presence of workplace drama. Whether you wrote that resignation letter, had that hard conversation, or simply said a silent prayer before entering that meeting, guess what? You did that. And I also want to share that last month I was talking about, my friend Yolanda, and I was saying how, she was protecting her peace by unplugging from her phone and just, telling us that, hey, I'm not going to be answering my phone. I'm not going to be. So I got deeper in with Yolanda, and she shared so many golden nuggets with me about her peace journey and what that meant to her and everything. And it was so good. And I was meaning to copy and paste what she said and kind of bring it here, on the podcast. And I totally, was meaning to read it. But let me just say, your peace is important, even when it comes to your job. And just like Yolanda, you have to find ways to make sure that you're okay. So if that means unplugging, if that means walking away, if that means turning in that resignation letter, baby, if that's what you got to do, if you're comfortable with that, then okay, you got to do what you got to do. Okay, having hard conversations with people, all right, or like I said, or just simply saying a silent prayer, but you have to do what you have to do in order to maintain your peace, whether it's in your personal life or it's in your work life. Self-care, okay, is not selfish. Self-care, well, let me just say it like this. I'm sorry. Self-care is selfish. Okay, you have to be selfish with your time. There are other people that may think you're selfish because you're not doing the things that they want you to do. You're not saying the things that they want you to say, and you're not, conforming to what they want you to conform to. So yeah, they'll think you're selfish. You're selfish when it comes to your peace of mind. You're selfish when it comes to your heart. You're selfish with your boundaries. You're selfish with who you allow into your space. So yes, you are selfish. Self-care is selfish, okay? And use it. Take it for yourself. Use my friend Yolanda. She didn't care about us. I'm not saying that she don't care about us. She loves us, yes. But baby, you got to do for you. All right? You got to do what's going to make you happy, and you got to do what's going to get you to that next level, what's going to get you to that peace level. And if that means shutting the door on everybody, including your mama, okay, you just got to do it. And we love our mamas, but sometimes, okay. So I'm just saying, do you. All right. Now let's get into this prayer. God, thank you for being our peace when chaos surrounds us. Help us not to shrink in stressful spaces, but to stand in the power of wisdom and grace. Give us discernment to know when to speak, when to pause, and when to move. Cover our mental health, protect our light, and restore the parts of us that feel drained. We trust you to guide us through. In Jesus' name, amen. If this episode blessed you or hit a nerve in the best way, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with a coworker, your prayer group, your bestie. Somebody needs to know they're not alone. And hey, I want to hear from you. Email your questions or workspace stories to inspirationswithroshonda@gmail.com for a chance to be featured in an upcoming segment. And like I always say, this tab's on me, girlfriend. I will see you at our next outing. Peace. Thanks for joining today's Girlfriend's Girlfriend podcast outing. I hope our chat brought you comfort and a new perspective. Listen, if you got a question, don't forget you can text the show or email me at inspirationswithroshonda@gmail.com, and it might be featured in an upcoming episode. Remember, every girl needs a friend, and I'm here for advice, a laugh, or just to listen. Stay connected by subscribing, and you'll never miss a new episode. Until our next chat, this girlfriend's out. Peace.
Every girl needs